Hi Sparks, it's a new week. I hope you really like this video. I really miss you guys.
I love seeing the pictures pouring in from the scavenger hunts and all the different things you guys did last week. So we'll share some of those photos. And Ken's came up with some things on our own this week. We had some extra boxes. So what are you suggesting with boxes?
I'm suggesting use your imaginations. Make a TV, you can go inside it and act. Or make a house, make a library. Use your imagination. That's the importance of this week.
Hi Sparks, this is Cookie. She decided she wanted to pick out the book this week. It's called I Am Jane Goodall. I am Jane Goodall. On my first birthday, my father bought me a cuddly toy chimpanzee named Jubilee. Jubilee, meet Jane. I loved Jubilee. I mean, loved. I used to carry Jubilee with me everywhere. As I got older, when I'd line up all my toys and play teacher, Jubilee was the one who had his own chair. Okay, class, who knows what rabbits like to eat? Yes, Jubilee? Correct as always. I didn't just love my toy chimpanzee, though. I loved all animals, even the earthworms I found in the garden. Did you bring the earthworms inside the house? Don't worry, Mom. They're safe as can be. Right under my pillow. My mom told me the worms would be safer in the garden, so we took them outside and buried them back in their home. At 5 years old, I was curious to learn how chickens lay eggs, so I crawled into my grandmother's hen house to watch. At first, all the hens were scared of me. Then I decided to crouch in the corner. If I had moved, the hens would have run away. I was patient, though. Finally, after all the hours of waiting, I saw what I was looking for. The hen gave a little wiggle and pop! There was an egg. Where were you? You've been missing so long we sent a search party out. You'll never believe where eggs come from. It was my first research project. In addition to animals, I also love nature. I named the chestnut tree Nookie and the beech tree Beach. Beach was my favorite. Thanks, Beach, for letting me read up here. Oh, that was another thing I loved. Reading. Back then, my family didn't have a lot of money. To get books, we went to the library. When I was 7 years old, I got a book that would change my life. It was called The Story of Dr. Dolittle. I read it once, then I read it again. Then I read it a third time before it had to go back to the library. It was about a man who could talk to animals. In the book, there's a parrot who says that if you want to learn how animals talk, you need the power of observation. But what I remember the most is the part where Dr. Dolittle and his animal friends are being chased and they come to a cliff. How are we ever going to get across? A bridge! Quick, make a bridge! Right there, the monkeys joined hands and feet. They became the bridge. Isn't that beautiful? We can accomplish anything by working together. After reading that book, I vowed that I would go to Africa and live among the animals. By the time I was 12, I had my own nature group, the Alligator Club. My friends and I raised money to help old horses. We took nature walks and wrote down what we saw, or at least I did. And if you wanted to have a high rank in the club, you have to be able to recognize 10 dogs, 10 birds, 10 trees, and 5 butterflies or moths. How about I go first? Something tells me she's going to name them all perfectly. Each of us even had our own animal name. Jane was the Red Admiral, named after a beautiful butterfly. Was I the best student? Not really. On school days, it was hard for me to wake up. I didn't like being indoors. But if we were outside or there were animals around, that's when I got excited. How many pets? Guess how many pets I had? There was a lizard with no legs named Ivor, guinea pigs named Gandhi and Jimmy, racing snails with numbers painted on them, Pickles the cat, Hamlet the hamster, and Peter the canary. And that didn't include the dogs I looked after, like my favorite Rusty, who liked wearing pajamas. That means he likes pajamas. Did you do the woof for our book? Good work. I wanted a job where I could learn more about animals. But back then, if you were a girl, people didn't think you could be a scientist. They expected girls to become nurses, secretaries, or teachers. I really wanted to go to Africa. I wanted to study animals. Luckily, my mom always told me, if you really want something, work hard for it. If you don't give up, you'll find a way. I never forgot that. Soon, I had my chance. One of my school friends invited me to visit her family in Kenya. That's right, in Africa. To pay for the trip, I worked as a waitress and hid all my money under the carpet. One day, I closed the curtains, counted it all, and I've got enough. I'm going to Africa. The trip took 21 days by boat. I was 23 years old. It all seemed like a dream until I saw a giraffe who stared directly at me. It had dark eyes, long lashes, a black tongue, and was chewing on acacia thorns. I knew my dream was coming alive. Finally, I was in the Africa of Dr. Dolittle. Two months later, my life changed again. Someone told me, if you're interested in animals, you must meet Dr. Louis Leakey. Nice to meet you. I'm Jane Goodall. I hear you like animals. You have no idea. Dr. Leakey was an anthropologist, which means he studied how humans live, and also a paleontologist, which means he studied fossils and bones. At first, he hired me as a secretary, but he was quickly impressed with what I knew about animals, including his own pets. Eventually, Dr. Leakey told me about a new job studying chimpanzees up close. He said going into the forest would be hard. It would be dangerous. But if we could find out how chimps live, we'd learn more about how our own prehistoric ancestors used to live. I have no college degree, no training, and no experience, but I want that job. Jane, I've been waiting for you to say that. For a year, I read everything I could about chimpanzees. They're always observed in labs. No one has studied them in the jungle where they actually live. I was also told that women couldn't be alone in the forest. They said I needed a guide, plus a companion. My mom offered to come. I was ready. I knew you wouldn't give up. I'll never forget the day, July 16th, 1960, the day I first set foot in what is today Gombe National Park of Tanzania, Africa. At 26 years old, I had finally made it to the home of the chimpanzees. It was a place that would change my life. During one of my first explorations, we saw 2 chimpanzees eating in a tall tree. They noticed us and ran away. They're scared of us. The next day, we didn't see any chimps. There were no chimps the day after that either. For months, I tried to get close, but they kept running away. Then I started going alone, just me. I'd go to the high area called the Peak and look down with my binoculars. This was my secret. Be patient. Learn about how they lived. Slowly move closer and closer. In time, I saw that the chimpanzees would hang out in groups of 6 or fewer. The female chimps would be with the children. The male chimps would be with one another. These weren't mindless animals. This was a community. Still, it took nearly a year before I could get within 100 yards of the chimpanzees. One day, I came back to the camp and found out one of the male chimpanzees took our food, including your bananas. Fantastic! That means they're not scared of me anymore. I bet he'll be back tomorrow. The next day I waited and waited. There were no chimpanzees in sight. Then, at 4 p.m., I heard a rustling noise by my tent. It was the large male chimpanzee with a thick beard, David Graybeard. That was the name I gave him. Back then, people told me that there was a certain way to study animals, that I shouldn't give the chimpanzees names. They said animals were supposed to have numbers, not names. Why? They thought animals didn't have personalities or emotions. They thought that if we gave them names, we'd start pretending that they were like us. But that's what no one realized. They were like us. That day, David Graybeard took my nuts and my bananas. A month later, he took one from my hand. Even later, out in the forest, he slowly approached me and checked to see if I had a banana in my pocket. It was one of my proudest moments, having the other chimpanzees now understand that I wasn't a threat. I was their friend, and they were mine. Over time, by seeing the chimpanzees as individuals, I could truly understand them. Who wants another banana? David was calm, though he liked getting what he wanted. It's okay, pal, calm down. Goliath was easily excited. William was shy. Old Flo was a strong mother who always brought her daughter and son. As I watched, I learned one of the coolest things of all. One day, I saw David Graybeard stripping leaves off a twig, then sticking the twig into a termite mound. He wasn't just using the twig as a tool. He had made that tool. Before that, scientists thought that only humans could make tools. There was no doubt that these animals were intelligent. Every night, I'd write in my journal about what I observed, and every day I saw the chimpanzees doing the same things we do. Holding hands, tickling, kissing, even patting backs to reassure each other. The more I observed, the more I learned. Soon, I had so much information I needed a tape recorder. Then I needed an assistant to help observe all of the chimpanzees' families in the forest. 6 years later, what started with a notepad and binoculars became a full research center. Now I was the one in charge. Isn't it wonderful? Look what we can build together. Today, thanks to our work in Tanzania, the whole world knows that animals have their own personalities and complex relationships. In my life, people told me there was a certain way to do things, a certain way to study animals, a certain way that girls should behave. They told me to follow the rules. Instead, I followed my gut. In your life, it'll be easy to see how others are different from you. But there's so much more to gain if you instead see how alike we all are. All of us, all living things, share so much. We have so many things in common. When we realize that and look out for each other, that's the most beautiful way to live together. Today, Dr. Goodall's work has grown reminding people everywhere that we all share this earth every day. When we protect the planet, we protect each other. Even now, along with the Jane Goodall Institute, she's working to save endangered species, including her beloved chimpanzees, while also taking care of our environment. With more than 150,000 groups of young people in 130 countries, the Roots and Shoots Network connects youth of all ages who share a desire to create a better world. Do you want to work with animals one day? Watch your favorite animals and see what they do. Make notes, read books about them, and they're so much like us. I am Jane Goodall. I see so much that we have in common. Watch, observe, be patient. It'll teach you this. We don't own this earth. We share it. Listen to the feelings in your heart. We are responsible for the animals around us. We must take care of them. When one of us is in trouble, be it human, creature, or nature itself, we must reach out and help. When we do, we build a bridge that will carry us all. I really hope you enjoyed this book. It's one of our favorites. Let's all be like Jane Goodall this week and go outside, sit still, and just watch nature. I bet you'll see a lot of things that you didn't notice before. Listen to the sounds and try to make some notes of it and maybe pictures. Something that Mackenzie and I noticed when we sat and watched the birds was that the smaller birds eat out of the bird feeder, while the bigger birds will eat the seeds off the ground that the small birds drop. What sort of things do you notice in your backyard? Hi Sparks, we have another activity for you guys to do. It's a fairly simple one. Watching a bean grow into a plant is magical, and it happens so quickly too. Find a clean, empty jar or a Ziploc bag like we have here, and fill it with some wet cotton balls. So Kenzie's getting them a little wet. She's putting them in the Ziploc bag.
Don't get them too wet. Just get them a little wet.
That's right, because we don't want it to go moldy.
Yeah.
So we want them damp, but not sitting in water. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna place it in a sunny place. We're actually gonna tape it to our window and watch the roots and shoots grow. Within 7 to 10 days, you can plant it outside in a pot with soil and continue growing it. Hope you enjoy. Do you wanna put your seeds in now so we can show?
I'm gonna just put this one in.
And we'll see if we can share that next week once we're done. I'll come over so we can see better.
And then here we put that in there.
And that's it. We're gonna go tape it to our window.
Everybody, and and welcome. My name is Danielle. I'm a nature interpreter at Royal Botanical Gardens. So glad you could join me this afternoon. We're going to have lots of fun creating some really great projects in our own backyard. So we're going to be doing something called a mandala. And it's really fun, it's really simple, it's not too complicated. I'm going to show you an example of what a nature mandala would look like. So I already have one put together for you right over here on the table. So with nature mandalas, we're thinking about things like symmetry. So usually it's circular, and then you just start to build from there. It is an activity that we often include with school programs in our Art in the Outdoors school program. So if you come with your class, you might get a chance to do that with your students. So it's as simple as looking around. What's in your backyard? What's on the ground? Are there things like leaves? Or maybe there's twigs or rocks? So now's the time where you get to go in your own backyard and have fun. Go explore. Go discover what's there. Don't worry, I'll wait for you. Go ahead. Awesome. What did you find? Did you find some rocks, leaves, twigs? Those are going to make great things for our nature mandala. So how about I show you how we build one? So I went around in my own backyard, collected a few things of my own, and now it's time to start using our imagination and start building. Found this really cool piece of moss, so I want to use that maybe as our focal point. It's going to be right in the middle. And now maybe I'll use these twigs, and I'll start to build it out. So with nature mandalas, we focus on symmetry and patterns. So great curriculum connection for different ages and levels. So now I'm gonna just keep on building, keep on adding, making sure it's the same all the way around. Does that look good? Next one there. Perfect. What else could we add? Ah, there's this beautiful cedar. We have cedar that grows in our backyard. So maybe I'll add a little bit of cedar in between the branches. Why not? Such a beautiful sunny day right now. Definitely take advantage of your own backyard and what you have there. Great. What else can we add? Oh, I have some leftover flowers from in the fall. I'm gonna add them right on top of where the cedar was. It's looking great. It's coming along nicely. Probably have rocks in your own backyard, so why not add a few rocks? So maybe I'll add 2 for each section. That's looking great. I'm sure your mandala is looking even better than mine. And maybe a few pieces of mulch. Maybe you got some mulch in your backyard. Oh, maybe a little piece short, so why not break up a little piece and put it right over there. And there you go, guys. What do you think? It's not perfect, but it's still pretty cool. You can definitely have lots of fun with it. You can make it big, you can make it small, different colors, different shapes. So have fun. Go outside in your own backyard, create a nature mandala. Why not post a picture? I would love to see what it looks like. So thanks for joining me today. Make sure you check our site at RBG. We're going to be posting lots of really cool things that you can do in your own backyard. Take care, guys.
Mackenzie and I decided to do this, so we went out into our backyard, into the front yard, and picked out some things that we thought would make a really nice picture. Hey Sparks, we're here with Mackenzie now. We gathered a bunch of stuff from outside to make a picture with. Now, I know you just saw the video from Royal Botanical Gardens. They did a mandala. And we're just gonna make our own picture. Just place stuff wherever we want.
Hey Sparks, now we're making perfume.
Okay, so we're gonna create our own herb or petal perfumes. Just depends on what you have around your house. All we have in our herb garden right now is chives, so that probably wouldn't make a really good perfume. It smells like onions. But we have this beautiful plant here that Layla brought to us.
Thank you, Layla.
And it smells really nice. So we're gonna use it in our perfume here. So this is a hyacinth, and it's very, very nice. So, instructions. Making your own perfumes from natural materials is so much fun and easy to do. Simply collect some herbs, grasses, and petals into little bowls or jars, or a little spray bottle like we have here. Check which ones you're allowed to use first, of course. Then half fill some jars or bottles with water and stir in the chosen herbs and petals until you've made the perfect perfume concoction. So Ken's is going to add water now. Might be a little messy, but that's okay. And then you can add labels if you want and give them away to friends or maybe your mom as a gift. And that's it. Pretty easy.
Let's start stirring.
And we did this earlier in the week and it turned out really nice, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Smelled beautiful.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys have fun doing that.
The water.
Another thing we did this week, Sparks, was we planted our own seeds in our egg carton. So if you just get some soil and some different flower seeds or herb seeds, whatever you want, just put some soil in there, plant your little seeds, add a little water, and then you can put it in a window so that it gets sun. And just make sure you water it every day. See what kind of plants you can grow.